What don't you like about nice guys?
It's because some of us are smart enough to know that the niceness is not genuine. Yes, we want a good guy who treats us well. However, we don't want people pretending to be something that they're not. I've been a victim of nice guys, and I've also had some guy friends of mine that were like that. However, they know not to say the phrase, "I'm a nice guy," out loud because they're going to give themselves away. But it's blatantly obvious that they believe that they are nice guys, because these dudes have a tendency of presenting themselves in a certain way. They might have a place to stay, they might have a car. In other words, they look established, and they are the type of men that look good on paper. However, they can get a woman in the door, but they can't keep one long term. Another reason we don't like these types of guys is they tend to have covert abusive tactics, such as treating you one way out in public and in front of friends and family, but a completely different way when you guys are in private or at home. Not to mention, when you turn down these men, they become an entirely different type of beast. Like, they go from wanting to get into your pants, and then 5 seconds later, after you tell them no, or you've turned them down numerous times and don't change your mind about them, they will call you all sorts of names, they will insult you, they might even weaponize certain things that you have told them about yourself in the past. If anything, another reason we don't like them is because they're basically male pick-me's. Like, they can't keep a woman long term, but then they get mad at the women and they're like, "Oh, she likes the thugs, then the gangsters, nice guys finish last," and all this other rhetoric.
Every nice guy I've ever met turned out to be a waste of time, right? I remember when I was looking for a apartment in New York and I found a broker, and this guy was super handsome, super tall, dark skin, super confident, not your typical Pookie and Ray Ray, you could tell that he had himself together, right? Well spoken, charming, everything, right? And, he had to, drive me around to look at some units that day. And, he had 3 kids. Nice home in Connecticut. I'm like, wow, this guy, he's a great dude, and he's letting you know that he's married. That's a great guy. Wow. If only more men could do this. Now, after I signed for the apartment, that's when the sudden flirtatious remarks would come in, right? And I had to shut that ish down because, boy, you're married and you got 3 kids, you know? So he was making sure that he got business out the way and then he can get down to the nitty gritty. And this woman is probably at home thinking she has a great husband, and she doesn't. She doesn't have a good husband. He's cheating on her with clients. Not me, but I'm sure someone gave in and cheated with him. And that's just one example. And I have one more. Keep watching.
I need to know.
When I was 19, I was attacked at a party. It happened in his truck outside of the house we were at. After it was over, and I got my clothes from all around the car because he'd thrown them, I got dressed and I left him in his truck to go back inside and find my friend. It was like 3:30 in the morning, but I was not going to leave her there knowing what had just happened to me. When I went inside, there was a guy who actually lived at the house. He was very, very nice. He kind of implicated that he had seen what had gone down outside, more or less, and he was asking if I was okay. Obviously, at this point, I was in shock. He helped me look for my friend all over the house, which was like a 10-bedroom house, and we couldn't find her. But not only was I not going to leave her there, but I was also so frozen, I don't think I could have gotten back to the dorms on my own. The guy who lived there, who had just helped me look for her, told me that I could just hang out on the couch for a bit and see if she turned up. He started asking me about what had just happened, asking me questions about the guy who had done it because it was his frat brother. I had just met him. I didn't really know either of them. But obviously, because this guy was so nice and kind and understanding and reached out to me asking questions about my well-being, I trusted him a little bit. Why not, right? He's a nice guy. I gave him a chance. And after a guy being so overtly violent and scary to me, it seemed wonderful. Well, they were playing video games and smoking spliffs, and after a few puffs, I started to just feel dizzy and overwhelmed. I wasn't saying anything, but nice guy looked over and he asked again if I was okay, and then he kind of insisted that I needed some alone time to calm down. And it just so happened that his bedroom in the house was right off of the living room where we were. If you've never been in physical shock after a violent endeavor, it is disembodying. I remember being ushered into his bedroom. It was pitch black. He had a friend in there. I think it was actually his roommate asleep in the other bed. And he insisted that I just sit on his bed in the dark and we could talk and I could calm down. I protested because it didn't make sense. If my friend was going to show up, how would she know where I was? But Mr. Nice Guy was persistent. I had just been through something terrible. I needed to lay back and take some deep breaths and just sit in the dark. I think you know where this is going. My friend reappeared around 5 a.m. Neither of us know what she was doing, but we made it back to the dorms, and I woke up to a phone call from my resident director demanding a meeting with the dean because an anonymous witness had seen the first attack. That was so overwhelming, I was literally not allowed to say no, and because it was the first attack, the second one kind of got overlooked. Again, they demanded I speak with them, but it was just hours after the fact and I was fully in shock. I described to my friends what had happened to me as if I was the disgusting one, and the looks on their faces I'll never forget, because it was the first validation that what happened to me was not my fault. My friends banded together and took me to the mall to take me out to lunch and to get a plan B. The first attacker, Mr. Aggressor, he at least put some protection on, but he was so violent it broke. Mr. Nice Guy, though, he wasn't concerned about that. And thanks to his nice guy tactics versus the overt aggressor, he had already asked for my number before this happened. So at the mall, I texted him and asked if he would send me some money for the plan B because it's about $60. He responded completely denying that anything happened. Like literally saying that I didn't need a plan B because he didn't. Yeah. I fed him some details and then he realized I wasn't going to go along with him and pretend that nothing happened. And then I lied to him about the actual price of Plan B because he only wanted to send me half. So I got him to send me the actual whole amount. And that evening we went home and I really wanted to see the Oscars because it was Oscar Sunday, the year Leo won. And I remember sitting with my heating pad on my back in the dorm lounge by myself, watching him give his Oscar acceptance speech while I let the Plan B do its thing. I was in film school at the time, but I haven't been able to bring myself to watch the Oscars since. So yeah, if you're a real nice guy, then you might want to take it up with the guys pretending to be you, because it's sort of ruining your reputation.
So, there was a guy that I was talking to in college, right? And I remember we were in my dorm room. So I just gave him a nice cheeky kiss on the lips, right? And that was that. Didn't do anything further. My roommate was familiar with his friends group, and I remember later down the line, she found out from a source that the guy that I just gave a kiss to is going around to his friends saying that we had intercourse. And I was shocked because this guy came off as such this like good dude, super respectful, super shy, you know, never made me feel uncomfortable. And I was just so hurt. I felt so betrayed. I was so confused. I was so disgusted because I'm like, why would a guy lie on his private part and said he did something when he didn't do it? This guy must he can't like get any action because who lies about vagina? I just couldn't comprehend it. I was so upset. I was so angry, you know. I stopped talking to him. It was whatever. I stopped talking to him. And from that day forward, he would always just stare at me and look at me. I remember walking outside one day and I saw one of the friends from his friend group. And I told his friend, hey, I just want you to know, like, I never slept with your friend. You know, the guy came off like, it's okay. I don't really want to. But I was like, no, I'm letting you know because I'm not going to have someone messing up my name saying I did something when I didn't do it. So yeah, you'll have men pretending that they slept with you so they can get cool points from their friends. Quote unquote nice guy, right? Anyways, let's keep watching.
What don't you like about nice guys?
You sure? You sure? Cause I'ma tell you. But are you sure? Okay, I'ma tell you. You ever heard the saying, play nice? That's exactly what nice guys are doing. They're playing nice because they're not. They're bad guys who know how to play nice. That's it, that's all. It's an act, baby. And women see it, and we see right through it. That's why we don't like them. We know you're fake. You're not real, sir. You playing. And guess what? You're gonna fuck around and find out with the wrong bitch, I'm just saying.
Like about nice guys.
Okay, since you guys are so far behind, let me help you. Women do not like nice guys, but we call men undesirable nice guys as to not hurt their feelings. I understand that this is confusing to you because most men would say, I don't like you because you're a B word or because you're fat or ugly or whatever. Like, they'll let you know exactly why they don't like you. But women can't reject a man in this way. It's dangerous for us, even with the nice ones. So when I think of a nice guy, I think of somebody who's insecure, somebody who's needy, who lacks self-confidence, who is not sexually experienced, and who just genuinely we wouldn't have any kind of chemistry with. What we do like are kind men, honest men, and men who respect us, which is like finding a fucking unicorn. So if for whatever reason you were acting like an asshole on purpose because you believe that that's what women want, that is not at all what we want. It never has been and it never will be. We want kind men who are confident, ambitious, driven, respect us, and are good in bed.
You ever wanted to leave a guy alone, right? And then he says, "Oh, I'm the nice guy." You girls never want the nice guy. You guys always want Pookie and Ray Rays. And it's just like, you notice how they get so angry and they're so entitled to your time because the world has told them that they're a nice guy because they didn't go to jail, because they have a degree, they don't have a bunch of kids, right? So the world promised them a woman if they have a decent car and their own apartment and pay their own bills. So when you reject them, they're confused because they didn't go to jail, they're not beating a woman's behind, you know, they don't call a woman either their names, so they feel like, oh, well, I'm a nice guy. You'll find out very soon that he's not a nice guy. Try rejecting a guy that comes off as a nice guy, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Let's keep watching.
Nice guys aren't really nice. They're actually abusive. Very abusive. But in their eyes, they feel like their kind of abuse that they administer is an abuse. They think of physical abuse and things of that nature. Nice guys aren't really nice.
What?
When I was in college, I worked on a literary magazine with a bunch of other people, and I was dating one of the guys, and we broke up. So one of the other guys that I've been working with for about 2 years called me one night and said, listen, there's a party. Why don't you come, get out, have some fun? And so I went, and he and his roommate fixed my drink and then carried me to my car unconscious, drove me back to his apartment. Fortunately, I woke up, so they weren't able to take me upstairs. So he tried to in the car, and when I fought him off, he jumped out of the car and said, fine, bitch, then drive home, and left me in the dark in the city to drive 15 miles home, incapacitated. But he was a nice guy.
Nothing's wrong with nice guys, except for the fact that they make really good sheep costumes for the wolves among you.
If you're not getting the message, let me tell you what the message is. Stay away from men who say they are nice guys. Never tell a man what you're looking for. Let him unfold his real self, and you make that decision. I can't make that decision for you, but don't fall for that nice guy act. Anyways, subscribe and like, y'all. Thanks for stopping by.